from
complete no authority.
that old gal all around the country, and I opened for her. It's a really funny one. Yeah, it's fun. I do, I quote Dan Fogelberg all the time. The audience is heavenly, the traveling is hell, if you know that song. Fogelberg. So do you know, does anybody know Dan?
Yeah.
Oh. So this check.
Well, we are gonna take questions, so we can start lining up now if you guys would like. Don't pressure push in or anything. Right over here. Orderly fashion.
Hey, great.
You can try. I don't want mom to get sassy, baby. All right. So, I'm ready to go for the questions. Do you have anything to say? You want to take over?
Well, I'm going to answer this lady's question, is it?
Yes, ma'am. It's all you.
What was your favorite show to tape? Like, what was your favorite episode?
Favorite episode of what?
Mama Family.
Oh, of Mama's Family. What was yours?
Probably the one where they were gonna demolish the house and you rode the wrecking ball. That was hilarious.
Did you? There was a really cute little Instagram with me and Miley, and it said who wore it best or who rode it best. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cute. Yeah, that was a fun one. I guess if I had to choose, I would probably say Dirty Dancing because that dance was so fun.
That
What's
was
his name? Ramon.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the hours of entertainment you gave us throughout our lives. I get to watch a lot of Instagram of yours because it's just like you're on my algorithm. So I was watching one earlier where you are dogging Eunice, calling her stupid and stuff. And then I was watching another one with Tim Conway. And I'm like, how did you keep from laughing all the time when Tim Conway was making everybody else upset? It was impressive.
Honestly, I was the child on that show, and when I first started, I had just started at UCLA. They were all married with children, and they were all already really well known. So I didn't feel that I had really earned the right to do the stuff that they did. They were the grown-ups. So it was a lot of years. It was maybe when Mama came along that I started getting a little bit sassy. And then of course there's probably the biggest outtake from the show, which is when I finally got to Tim when he was telling the elephant story. I'll tell you that we used to do two shows. We would tape a show in the afternoon, and then we'd have like an hour and a half. They'd do a production meeting. We'd go get dinner. If you were hungry, you'd get your makeup touched up. And while they're having the production meeting, the director would write down notes for all the actors. So he'd come by your dressing room before the second show, different audience, and give you any notes that he had for the show. And it could be anything. It could be, we changed your mark in the finale. Please go out and see where we put it. We've given Carol a new joke here, so you've got a new cue. It could be any number of things. He knocked on my dressing room door that night. He said, I have only one note for you. The elephant story will be different, and good luck. That was it. And I said, damn it, how does he get away with this? My husband was the makeup man on the Carol Burnett show. He was sitting over in the corner reading the paper, and the paper came down. He said, get it. And he put the paper back. And I thought, I think I might try. Yeah.
Hi, I would like to ask how the character of Mama was, what inspired you? Is it based on a real person, or how did she come about?
Well, she was actually written for Carol. And when Carol saw the final draft of the sketch, she said, I would like to play Eunice. She was gonna play Mama, they were gonna get a guest star to play Eunice. It was a one-time sketch. And Carol said, I like Eunice better. And I think Vicki would be wonderful as Mama. She went to Bob Mackey. She said, don't you think we can make her Mama? He said, yeah, of course, because I had played many old ladies on the show by that time. So it was just, kind of another old lady. And I was trying to find a voice that sort of sounded similar to Carol. They never wrote it Southern. The writers were absolutely infuriated when they saw us do it. They said, "You have ruined our beautiful sketch. I'm going to offend the whole Southern half of the country." And on the contrary, everybody loved it so much that they had to write those characters over and over and over again. So, yeah, I went from the youngest person on the show to playing the oldest one. And I would just have to say mothers that I have known so as not to offend anybody. My own mother, my own mother called me. I think after we did a couple of those sketches on the air, she called me one night. She said, I think you take those characters way too seriously. And I thought, boy, this is hitting the nerve.
What's it like working with Carol Burnett?
Well, it's awful. She's honest to God, you guys, the nicest person in the world. She's the loveliest lady I've ever met in my life. She's nurturing and caring. She used to know everybody's name on the show, from the prop man to the sound effects guy, the dog's name. She knew who was sick. How's your mom doing? I mean, she was amazing. One night I was walking by the green room, and there was a woman who had brought four little Girl Scouts to the show to see it. And she was introducing herself. She said, "This is Susan, this is Mary, this is Linda, and this is Kate." And as I walked by, Carol said, come on and meet these girls. This is Susan, this is Linda, this is, I've already forgotten. And this, she knew everybody's name. She's so good at that. She knows everybody's name. And she's just really a special lady. She's, they don't make them like that much. And Harvey used to tell me that all the time. Because Harvey Corbin came from the Danny Kaye show. And I loved Danny Kaye. I used to watch that show all the time. But he would say to me often, this is not the way it usually goes, but usually if you have a funny line, the stars will have it rewritten so they get the joke and they'll write you something new. Carol wasn't that way. She said, "I want it to be a rent company. I want us to all be fabulous, because if we're all great, I'm going to get the credit. And if we're bad, I'm going to get the credit." So, very special one.
First of all, thank you for being here. Obviously, the room is already showing you the love that you deserve. A lot of celebrities, especially in variety groups and everything, can get pigeonholed to a point where they dislike the character. How were you able to avoid that and still have such an iconic character that reaches out to so many?
Who's been pigeonholed, do you think? I'm just curious.
I think there are a lot of people who would have thought that certain characters that they've played, they were stuck in that role.
Like who?
Going forward. I don't want to name names because one of them's going to be here tomorrow.
Well, they're not here now.
Yeah, but that would of course.
He won't leave this room. Oh, he's supposed to be right across from me. He's not here today, huh? No, tomorrow. Oh, my son and I watch Flipside every freaking night because I refuse to watch the news anymore. Won't do it. I'll just say train in LA. It runs right during the 6 o'clock news, so turn on Flipside. So I can't wait to meet Jaleel. And he's not Urkel at all on that show. He's adorable. But anyway, how do I manage? Well, honestly, Carol's husband was the executive producer of the Carol Burnett Show. And in the 9th season, 9 out of 11, we did 11 seasons. The 9th season, he pulled me aside and said, "I would like to spin Mama off into her own show."
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Well, what about Carol? What about Harvey?" And he said, "You don't need them." And I'm like, well, what if it doesn't work? He said, then you'll come back here. And I said, with my tail tucked between my legs? No. And I had just been pregnant for 9 months. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to play an old lady every week. So I said no. Carol was thrilled. I saw her the next morning. She went, "Oh, this means we still get to do it on my show." So she was thrilled. And it wasn't until about a year after the Burnett show was over that they approached me again. And actually, we did in between there, we did a show that probably nobody has seen. It was called Eunice. It was a special for CBS. I don't even know if you can see it anywhere. I don't know. I haven't seen it in years. But Carol had a deal with CBS to do a couple of specials. And so she commissioned those writers to do a 90-minute teleplay called Eunice. And it basically followed these characters all the way through. And Mama died at the end. And I remember Carol bringing that script out. We were in Hawaii and she threw it down in front of me. I had was face down on a chaise lounge. She said, "See if you want to do this." And I read it and I said, "Well, I die in the end." She said, "Don't be greedy." But okay. So we did. And I was nominated for an Emmy that year for that show against these totally serious actresses. It was like Claire Bloom and I can't, like Bryce Head Revisited and all these really serious shows. I should remember the list. And when they announced the category, Harvey was sitting next to me. He said, "Sweetie, I am so proud of you, but you are so not going to win." Anyway, we went up to Carol's house to screen that show before it ever even aired. And as soon as the credits started to run, Carol said, "Vicki, you've got to do this as a series." She said, "This woman will take good care of you for the rest of your life. You have got to do it." So, yeah, I did. And it was so much fun. I never had to go into makeup. We're getting ready to tape, go get ugly. Well, it was so easy and so fun. And we had a blast. We had our schedule down to a 4-day work week by the last season of Mama's Family. We could have gone on forever and ever, but we were in syndication and they wanted 130 episodes. I guess that's like a magic number. So, but no, I've never felt pigeonholed. I know how much people love her and I know how much fun she is to play. So it's pretty fun to dress up and say whatever the hell you want.
So we've been watching Mom and Dad with our son, and so one of our favorite sayings around the house is, "Uh-oh, what is one of your favorite sayings or lines from the series?"
Uh-oh. One of my favorite lines. Well, I think when the kids were growing up, and there was when the stuff would hit the fan, I think I would often say, "Boy, I bet the neighbors are just loving this." I don't know. What else? I can't, what hook lines does she have? Who has a favorite hook line? Oh, wait, what the? Good Lord, damn. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always enjoyed seeing you as a guest on game shows. Of the shows you did, which one was your favorite game to play?
Oh, hands down, Dick Clark, $25,000 pyramid. Because we just loved to razz each other, and it was so much fun. And it was really fun. I loved that game. I also loved Password a lot. So they're good games, you know? There's so many game shows on now, and a lot of them are just crappy games, you know? Like, and Password, I watch Password now with Jimmy Fallon. And if they get a word right, they celebrate like they have just ended the war in Ukraine. It's like, it's one word, you guys, get a grip. We on Password, I don't know if any of you ever got to see Eunice and Mama play Password for a whole week in character. And when Carol said, "This is what I want to do," I said, "Oh my God, how are we going to win? How are we going to do this and still be in character?" She said, "We can do it." And I said, okay, that was nothing. And I think, you know, I read the comments when I see that clip and people really thought it was all scripted. No, none of it was scripted. It was really a lesson in improv. It was really fun, but I was nervous. Yeah.
All right, so my question is, I know that Raytown is Raytown, USA,
Mhm.
and we never know what state it's in. You said Southern, but I'm just curious, what state do you think Raytown is in?
Well, Raytown is in Kansas. And I think the writers, when they originally wrote these characters, figured that was like pretty much smack dab in the middle of the country. And they, as I said, never intended it to be Southern. So I know the people in Raytown tried to raise enough money to put a statue up of Bravo.
Where do we donate?
They wrote me and they asked my permission and I said, "Oh, okay, go for it." I
Might have started that Kickstarter now.
don't think they never got it done, but it was very sweet of them. So Raytown, Kansas, it's right on the, it's really close to the border.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Lucy, and
Hi,
she's
Lucy.
too shy to ask, but she recognized you immediately from Hannah Montana.
Oh, yes.
So I watched you grow up with my mom, but she wanted to know how you like getting to play
Mama.
Grandma on Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that was super fun. Our daughter was home visiting. She was living up in Missoula and she came home for a week to visit. And I was road tripping back with her to help her decorate her new little place. She's doing her PhD up there. And I have no idea how she got that smart. It was something in the tequila is all I. But anyway, so we're road tripping back up there and somewhere in Utah, my agent calls and catches us and says, okay, this is going to be huge. It's going to be on the Disney Channel. Her name is Miley Cyrus. It's going to be called Hannah Montana. They want you to play the grandma. What do you think? And I said, well, my favorite dog at that time was my black lab that I named Hannah. And I said, and I'm on my way to Montana, so I think I must. And they're like, you know, it was weird. I think I must. So the first time I did the show, the producer said, you know, we've tried to hire really good actors to be around Miley because she's a little sponge. So if you have anything to teach her, please teach her. So our very first scene together is in the kitchen and we've got a lot of props, a lot of dishes and silverware and moving around and stuff. And Miley got a little bit lost and where does this go and how does that? And I said, you know what, Miley, let me tell you one of the first things that Harvey Korman ever taught me, make your props your friends. And consequently, it is not until I get on my feet on a set that I associate a line with when I move this bottle, that's this line. And it makes it so easy for me to learn script. I can't learn it off the page, but as soon as we put it on its feet, I can learn it. So anyway, flash forward 4 years later and Mama's on again and she and Miley are going to a fancy tea room to have high tea. Do you remember this episode, Lucy? It was towards the very end. So we're all dressed up and we didn't really rehearse the scene because it wasn't a long scene. They were just going to shoot it without rehearsal. So we walk in, we sit down at the pretty little tea table and I set my purse in the middle of the table. And I realized almost immediately it's a stupid place to set the purse. It's going to be in every shot. And if it moves, if we do another take and it moves, it's not going to be good. So I said, cut you guys. I screwed this all up. I shouldn't have put my purse here. Miley, where did you put your purse? She said, I hung it on the back of my chair, Vicki. Make your props your friends.
I just want to say I grew up watching the Carol Burnett show with my mom and my grandmother, and over the past year, I've been able to perform improv at our local theater in Birmingham. And I just want to know if you have something you know now about performing comedy you wish you knew when you started.
How to be funny. Oh my God, I was such a geek. I used to watch myself on television when those shows would air when I was first on. And I would just kind of watch it like that because it was like, oh my God, I'm such a geek. I mean, Harvey used to say to me, forget stage right, stage left. You can't even find the ladies' room. And he really took me under his wing and I think he was such a team player. He decided he's either going to train me or kill me. So he set about to make me a comedian. He would help me with everything. But I think the most important thing in improv certainly is to listen. Like be in the moment and listen, because there are a lot of actors who just learn their lines. And if you throw a sideways cue at them, they don't know where they are. So listen to everybody that's on stage with you. That I guess would be my best advice. Hi.
Okay, so my husband and I just binge watched Mama's Family in my summer. So,
Is your husband okay?
wait,
Okay. Oh,
so who was Mama's favorite child and Mama's favorite grandchild?
well, you know that, don't you? My favorite child?
Oh,
Oh,
Was it
Betty
Vince?
White.
Yeah.
Was Vinton your favorite?
I don't, maybe he was a sweet little boy, but she adored Betty. She adored her. I adored Betty. I'll tell you, we went to Betty's house. She invited me and my husband over for dinner one night when Mama's Family, back in the good old days. And we went out for dinner and it was, really home cooking and game night. We played lots of games and it was just like you would expect Betty White's house to be. And on the way home, we had to drive all the way, a long way back to the valley. And very quiet in the car. And at one point, Al said, honey, can I just say something? If you ever died, I think I could date Betty White. I said, Al, if you ever die, I could date Betty White. That's how much we loved her. She was just, yeah, I miss her. She was so fun. So fun.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi there. So before I ask my question, I wanted to say that Mama's Family is something very, very near and dear to my family. It's so much so that my mom is right up there in the center row. We're in the purple.
Oh,
And so my question is more of a philosophical question that is,
philosophical.
so with the shows like Mama's Family and The Golden Girls and Carol Burnett, there's a lot of magic that goes into it to be something that's so amazing that even 40, 50 years later, is still so amazing and relevant to everybody that's like, this is still pretty damn good. What do you kind of magic, like, what do you think is needed to make a show like that even, maybe even 100 years down the line, you could still watch it and say, this is amazing?
Well, definitely the writing. And I've been blessed to be in casts that have had there are amazing writers on the Carol Burnett show, and there were fabulous writers on Mama's Family. And then probably just chemistry among the actors, I think. And I know for sure the Burnett show was never topical. And that's one of the reasons it's held up. Like you can't watch laughing because all those jokes were too topical. But you can still watch our show. We hardly ever did anything topical at all. And neither did Mama's Family. I don't think we did. How do they last so long? I think it's just a combination of the cast fitting really well together and the writers. I mean, it's everything. The costumes. I didn't realize until almost the end of Mama's Family that we were color coded. Did you know that? I never put two and two together. But yeah, I was always lavender and Naomi was always yellow and Jen was always brown. Yeah, and Bubba was always green. I mean, it was Isle was always pink. I think all those things contribute to it. And also timeless stories. I mean, it's just an American family, and I think a lot of what happened on Mama's Family happens to a lot of people.
Thank you so
I think everybody knows that old lady, everybody has one of those in their, right, in their family. She comes over at Thanksgiving and says the most horrible things at your table. When you're in the kitchen doing the dishes with your sister, you're going, God, do you believe she said that? That's real life.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is.
First of all, happy early Mother's Day.
Oh, well, thank you.
And Mama was on Family Feud and she was on Jeopardy.
Uh-huh.
What would be a current modern day reality show? Going?
What would be a current day what?
Reality show.
A reality show that she would be on?
If she were to-
Survivor.
Naked in a fry.
Everyone wants a chance to ask a question, please line up.
So I really didn't grow up watching Mama's Family. Wife had me watching
Get out.
last night. And it still holds true. I think the answer to their question before is the 80s is still the best era ever, and that's why it's so resocio.
I don't, but Mama's Family is kind of in a little time warp, don't you think?
Yeah.
We used to actually have actors show up to do a guest part, and they'd say, what time is this supposed to be? Like it's the 50s and the 40s, and I'd say now, current time.
It just, I mean, just great shows last like that, you know, I mean, throughout the years. And I think
Yeah.
it'll still be funny 30, 40 years down the line. It's still great. So we did a picture with you earlier today, and I just had to make a promise to my wife. She did the Naomi thing, and one of her favorite episodes, it was the photography thing with Ben, where he photoshopped.
Oh, my head on to it.
Yeah, so I had to promise I won't do any photoshopping on our picture. But we do have AI now, so
Yes, we do.
great to see.
Certainly do.
Okay, 1 second, one run down the front here.
Oh, she's asking about the Cool Kids, which was on Fox a number of years ago. That Leslie Jordan's part was never supposed to be gay. And I was the first person cast. So they were trying to cast the guys around me. And I read with actors for that part. I read with many of them, and it just wasn't happening. And one day Leslie came in and everybody looked at him. You know, Charlie Day was our executive producer, he wrote the whole thing. So, I mean, so fun to be around him. How adorable. Anyway, he kind of looks at Leslie funny. Leslie said, I'm gonna give it a little different twist. And boy, did he. He was, well, I love that show because every one of us has been in the business long enough. Leslie used to say, we've been around the block so many times, we're dizzy. And we would all just sit around and tell these great old show business stories. And it was just so much fun. I still can't believe he's not going to be on the other end of the phone when I call. It was just such a shock to everybody because I think he got us all through the pandemic, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I think he did by himself. Yes, he probably could have gotten us through now. That would have been really fun, I bet. Anyway, yeah, I miss those guys. Martin Mull is gone. I loved him. What a lovely dear man. So it's only me and David left. No, that's okay. I loved them all. I miss them. Yeah.
You took my question.
Now what?
Unfortunately, I'm good on my feet and I can think of something else. Yeah, I love the Carol Burnett show. It's growing up on it. I even wrote papers about it in college. So, in TV appreciation and TV criticism. But I was going to ask about the Cool Kids because I love that show. But what is, I can't think of another question. What is something that you've done that maybe was underrated, but you really loved and you wish more people had seen?
Oh, well, definitely the Cool Kids. I thought that was a very cute show. It was a great premise. Charlie worked in an elderly facility when he was young. So he kind of knew what he was talking about. And unfortunately, we did it for Fox.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just really important. When we did it, when we did the pilot, I said, damn it, I wish this was for ABC and not Fox. Because they love to cancel stuff and put on wrestling.
We talked about that last year with
Yeah.
Dr. Phillips with Prodigy sign. They canceled it after 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, so I missed that. I think another thing that, not that people didn't appreciate it, they just didn't know that I was the original person who sang The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. When people, I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I said, that's funny. I almost asked you about that too.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Because
well,
I have the vinyl. So
it's back in style vinyl.
it's
We were just in a hotel last week that had turntables and albums. Yeah, playing the.
I love you.
Oh,
So for years, I love you. So thank you for being here.
uh-huh. Yeah, Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. My first husband wrote that. We were married for 10 minutes. And he didn't like it. And he was demoing stuff in the studio one night and he got all done. And I said, what about Georgia? He said, I hate that song. And I said, that song is a smash. And he said, well, then why don't you do the demo? So I did. And we took it out to his producer in Hollywood, who said, I like this song. It's pretty good. I'm going to send it over to Liza Minnelli because I want to work with her. And I said, Minnelli is so wrong for this song. And he said, yeah, you're right. I'll send it over to Cher because he had produced a lot of Cher's stuff already. And Sonny said, Cher will not do it. It will offend the entire southern half of the country and it needs to be completely rewritten. And Bobby said, I never liked it to begin with. I'm not going to rewrite it. So basically his producer said, he just threw up his hands one day and said, let's just go in the studio and do it with Vicki. So that's, yeah, that's how that happened, a total accident. So it was, yeah, I got a gold record and I got the dog and it was the end of the marriage.
Well, that actually.
It was a great song and I was right, it was a smash. Mhm.
So you actually led into my question. I was going to ask if you still do any singing and if you'd be willing to maybe sing just a little bit for us.
Oh, well. You know, I do sing that song in my show because I think if you have a juggernaut from the 70s, you must sing it. I'm not going to sing for you now, not without an audience. I mean, not an audience, an orchestra. An orchestra is what I'm going. I sing, but not enough to bore you. You know, I don't have any of you seen Palm Royale yet that Carol is on. She sang in that last episode. And I had not seen it until it was on the air. And I called her and I said, oh my God, it was so good. She said, I don't sing very well anymore, Vic. And I said, oh my God, I cried. It was so good. Yeah. Is that it? Are we done, Ken?
We got 3 minutes, so rapid fire.
So I have a very quick question, first, before I ask the main question, because it's relevant. Have you seen the Dick Van Dyke Show?
The old Dick Van Dyke Show?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, I was in love
Okay.
with him. And I'm trying to be here, Tyler.
So my question is, how does production on a real variety show like the Carol Burnett Show differ from the one portrayed on the Dick Van Dyke Show?
Not a whole lot. The Carol Burnett Show really ran like a top. It really was so well organized. People often ask, what does an executive producer do? And a good executive producer, which we had, and that was Carol's husband, hires the best people he can and then stands back and lets them do their jobs. So everybody had their stuff to do. Everybody was great. And that show just ran like a top. Nowadays, I feel like, oh my God, it's just total chaos. And there's, 15 guys standing around looking for icebergs. And it's just insane now. Everybody has input. CBS pretty much left us alone. They very rarely had a note. And then when Mama's Family happened, we were with Laura Martella Pictures, and they left us alone. You'd send them a tape, they'd send you a check. So I think it probably ran a lot like, except our star wasn't quite as temperamental as Carl, right? Yeah, she was pretty special.
Thank you very much.
My oldest memories is Carol Burnett, and Derwin Kirby on the old Deary Morris.
Oh, my God, yes.
I love that. But my question is, I know Harvey and Tim love breaking each other up. Were there a lot of other times where you're trying to break people up, including the elephant story?
I don't think, no, I didn't. That was the first, I think, that was the first time I ever did anything like that. Well, maybe not the first, but it was the best. No, Tim was the troublemaker on our show. There's no question about it. We used to have cue cards back in the day. Now everything's on a teleprompter, but back in the day, we had guys that hand wrote the cue cards. And like maybe Carol was black and Harvey was blue and Tim was green and I was red. If you looked out in the audience during a taping and you saw a cue card that was green that said Saber on it, that meant here comes the joke that nobody's heard that is going to save this whole sketch. And you would just say, okay, fasten your seatbelt, here we go. Mr. Cuckoo Bananas. On any given day, if we were in rehearsal hall, there was an elevator that opened right into the rehearsal hall. And if we were all there and Tim came up in the elevator and the doors opened and he was just standing there doing nothing that you can really see, Harvey would go down for the count. And he's not doing anything. What is he doing? Tim used to say, I have custody of Harvey. And when people say, how did you guys meet? He always tells he used to tell, oh my God, I miss him. He used to tell a really funny story about them taking him down in the basement at CBS. He said, and Harvey was chained to the pipes. And he said, you're going to be working with him. When, the first few sketches that Tim did when he was our guest were with Carol. And it was just kind of an accident that he wrote a really funny sketch called The Dentist. And that was when Harvey and Tim started working together. And it was like magic. So, yeah, they were awfully funny together.
Wow.
But Harvey was just, forget it. He couldn't keep it together to save his life. I'll tell you a cute story. We went down to Sydney, Australia to open the Opera House in 1973, I think.
Wow.
So we were the first show that went in there. And if you've ever been to Australia, you know that it's a super long trip. And back in the day, it was Qantas and they'd give you these sleep masks, like what's my line? So you could, I don't know what, drool in privacy. So it's a long trip, not a peep out of anybody. The whole cast is in first class. And when we land on the runway in Sydney, here comes Tim, who was a gymnast in college, mind you, so very agile. And he's rolling down the aisle of the airplane, bumping into everybody's seats, going, ow, oh, geez, oh, God. And he rolls, and the little flight attendants are in their seats going, oh, my God. As he rolls up against the pilot's, the cockpit door, and as we screech to a halt, he turns around, he's got his sleep mask on like a bra. He looks at all of us and he says, wow, rough landing. And he walks back. He would be arrested. Right?
All right, everyone. Vicki Lawrence.
Well, she's been nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Love the moderator was a little starstruck.
Yep. Throughout the entire thing.
I love that you were so starstruck.
You were the best person to do it.
Because I'm nerd now.
Yes. Exactly the best regarding.
Right.
That was exactly what the.
Get your picture. Okay.
You too.